The Haunted Village. In a small village nestled deep in the mountains of Japan, there was an ancient house that once belonged to the Sugimoto family. This family, consisting of Mr. and Mrs. Sugimoto and their 2 children, lived a peaceful and happy life until one fateful day. One cold winter night, as the entire family was fast asleep, a piercing scream echoed from the room of the eldest daughter, Yuki. When everyone rushed in, they found Yuki convulsing, her eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. She could not utter a word, only making strange, unintelligible sounds. She then fell into a deep coma. The Sugimoto family sought help from doctors and healers, but none could explain Yuki's condition. Local healers began to spread rumors that Yuki was possessed by an evil spirit. Not long after, strange occurrences began happening in the house. At night, they heard footsteps creaking on the wooden floor, doors opening and closing, and whispers with no clear source. One night, Mr. Sugimoto saw the silhouette of a woman in a white kimono, standing silently by the window, staring at him with empty eyes. The figure vanished as he tried to approach. Terrified and anxious, Mr. Sugimoto decided to install a simple alarm system to ensure no one was breaking into the house at night. However, the alarm system detected no signs of intrusion, while the strange phenomena continued. The family increasingly sank into fear and despair. Soon after, the youngest son, Kenji, began exhibiting the same strange behavior as his sister. He often woke up in the middle of the night, talking to someone no one else could see, and gradually lost the ability to communicate with others. Kenji started drawing bizarre pictures of a woman with no eyes standing among cold graves. In a final effort to save the family, Mrs. Sugimoto sought help from a renowned local monk. After inspecting the house, the monk discovered a curse had befallen the Sugimoto family. He recounted the story of a woman named Haruko, who lived in the previous century and was forced by the Sugimoto family to commit suicide due to a forbidden love affair. Haruko carried a deep-seated grudge, and her spirit, unliberated, was seeking revenge on the family's descendants. The monk performed a complex exorcism ritual, using traditional incantations and ceremonies to free the trapped spirits in the house. Throughout the ritual, screams and eerie noises echoed throughout the house, making the atmosphere heavy and ominous. The monk had to use all his spiritual strength and knowledge to repel Haruko's vengeful spirit. After the ritual, Yuki and Kenji's conditions gradually improved, and the strange occurrences in the house ceased. However, Mr. and Mrs. Sugimoto could not forget what they had experienced. The family decided to leave the house and move elsewhere, carrying with them painful memories and a warning about the presence of restless spirits. The ancient house thereafter was called the Haunted House by the villagers, and no one dared to go near it. The story of the haunted house became a terrifying legend passed down from generation to generation. Villagers often recounted this story on cold winter nights when the wind howled through cracks in doors and the sound of the wind seemed like the whispers of unliberated spirits. Although the Sugimoto family had moved away, rumors persisted that Haruko's spirit still roamed the house, seeking comfort and release. The bravest individuals sometimes approached the house, hoping to see or feel the spirit's presence. And whenever someone went missing or met with an accident in the area, people would recall the story of the Sugimoto family and the haunted house as a warning about the power of grudges and the strength of unliberated spirits. The story of the haunted village continues to be told by locals to this day, serving as a reminder of the respect due to departed souls and the terrible consequences of lingering grudges. The memories and fears from the past still haunt the small village, making it a place full of mystery and enigma in the eyes of outsiders.
Three, two, one.
In a small village deep in the jungle, there was a poor family living in a small house next to the forest. This family only has a husband and wife and a son named Tung. Tung is a naughty and adventurous boy. One day, while hunting with his father, Tung got lost in the deep forest. At night, the forest became very dark and cold, but Tung still couldn't find his way home. Tired and scared, Tung began to see a light in the distance. He followed the light and eventually reached a large house in the middle of a deep forest. A middle-aged woman stood at the door waiting for him. This woman seemed very strange, with deep-set eyes and a strange blue light emanating from under her cloak. However, in panic and loneliness, Tung decided to enter this woman's house to find shelter. In the house, Tung realized that there was no furniture other than a table and a chair. The women only provided him with an old blanket to sleep on. Tung, although feeling strange, still decided to lie down and sleep. When Tung woke up in the morning, he realized that he had returned home safely. However, from that moment on, Tung's life seemed to begin to experience strange changes. He began to prefer being alone, staying away from people around him, and became quiet. One day, a neighbor told Tung's family a strange story. According to him, a beautiful but strange woman lived in a mysterious house in the middle of the forest, and anyone who entered her house would become strange and distant from everyone around them. Tung's family began to have doubts and fears. They began to see strange behavior in Tung. He became less interested in everything around him and seemed to prefer being alone. Finally, Tung's family decided to learn about the mysterious house in the deep forest. They arrived and discovered that the house had long been destroyed, with no trace of that strange woman left. When they returned, they realized that the changes in Tung's personality were no coincidence. That was the consequence of Tung entering that house and being influenced by strange women. From then on, Tung had to live with the consequences of not listening to adults' warnings and stepping into something unknown. The mysterious chest. In a small village nestled in the peaceful countryside, stood an ancient house that had withstood the test of time across generations. This house belonged to Mr. Bach, a man who lived his entire life harboring a deep, dark secret. The basement of the house was always securely locked, and no one was allowed to enter. Villagers were curious, but no one dared to ask questions. One day, Mr. Bach suddenly passed away, leaving the house to his son, Min. Min decided to clean out the house and accidentally discovered a key that unlocked the basement door. When Min opened the basement door, a musty and cold air wafted out. He grabbed a flashlight and descended the old, creaky stairs, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and curiosity. In a dark corner, he spotted a large, ancient chest covered in dust. The chest was adorned with intricate carvings and secured with a rusty padlock. Using the key he had found, Min unlocked the chest. Inside, he found a human skeleton and an old, tattered diary. Opening the diary, Min read the trembling words of a woman named Huang, who had been wronged and murdered by Mr. Bach for money. Huang had cursed Mr. Bach, declaring that every generation of his family would suffer for his crimes. As Min finished reading, He felt a cold breeze and heard a sinister laugh emanating from the chest. The skeleton slowly stood up, its hollow eyes staring straight at Min. Terrified, he bolted up the stairs, but the door slammed shut, locking him inside. From that day forward, Min began to experience bizarre and horrifying occurrences. Footsteps echoed in the night. Mysterious scratches appeared on the walls, and Huang's apparition haunted every mirror he looked into. Min realized he needed to free Huang's spirit to break the curse. He sought the help of a renowned monk, who explained that only by acknowledging the family's sins and performing a ritual could Huang's spirit find peace. Min learned that cruel actions always have consequences, and that one must take responsibility for their deeds. His family had gone through an unforgettable lesson about karma and retribution, and from then on, they lived a righteous life, never forgetting what had transpired. The ancient house became a symbol of atonement and forgiveness, reminding everyone of the power of karma and the importance of compassion. Min and his family organized a solemn ceremony to apologize to Huang's spirit and pray for forgiveness. During the ritual, they burned the diary and other items related to Huang to release her spirit. As the flames roared, a blinding light enveloped the room, and Huang's image gradually faded away. The house returned to its peaceful state, and the eerie phenomena ceased.